Good day, everyone. Welcome to our contemporary Philippine arts from the region subject. And for today, we will be talking about literature. Let us define literature first. When we say literature, this came from the Latin word litera. This means letter. Literature is a body of literary production. It is either oral, written, or visual. It contains imaginative language that realistically portrays thoughts, emotions, and experiences of the human condition. We have two major types of literature. First, we have prose. When we say prose, it came from the word prosa. That means straightforward. It consists of written words within the common flow of conversation presented in a straightforward manner. We have different types of prose. First, we have novel. Novel is a long narrative and it is being divided into chapters. So the events may be taken from true-to-life stories, and also it has a long period of time. So there are many characters involved in a novel. Example of novels are Harry Potter and Twilight, and also the Jane Austen and the Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Another type of prose is short story. And this is a narrative involving one or more characters. It has one plot and one single impression. Example of short stories are The Necklace by Guy de Maupassant and The Last Leaf by O. Henry. Next, we have plays. This is presented on the stage and it is being divided into acts, and each act has many scenes. Next, we have legends. Legends are fictitious narratives and usually about origins. It provides historical information regarding the culture and views of a particular group of people or country. So we have different examples of legends. First is the Bicol legend, Legend of Pineapple, and also the Legend of Makahiya, and so on. Another, we have folk tales. This is a traditional narrative that usually anonymous and handed down orally. This is being passed orally. Examples are the adventures of Juan, the Hawk and the Hen, and also fairy tales. Next, we have fables. Fables are a special type of folktale, and these are also fictitious, and they deal with animals and inanimate things who speak and act like people. So their purpose is to enlighten the minds of the children to events that can mold their ways and attitudes. A very common example of fables are Aesop's fable and the Lion and the Mouse. Next, we have myths. It is a traditional sacred story and typically revolving around the activities of gods and heroes. So this aims to explain a natural phenomenon on cultural practice. Examples, we have the story of Cupid and Psyche, the fall of Troy, and the myth about the creation. And also the Greek mythology and the Norse mythology. Next, we have anecdotes, and these are merely products of the writer's imagination. The main aim is to bring out lessons to the reader. Example is The Moth and the Lamp by Dr. Jose Rizal. Next, we have essay. This expresses the viewpoint or opinion of the writer about a particular writer or event. The best example of this is the editorial page of a newspaper. Next, we have biography, and this deals with the life of a person, which is about himself. So biography is something that is written by others about that specific person. Examples, we have life and works of Jose Rizal, and also life and works of Carlos Bulosan. Next, we have oration. And when we say oration, this is a formal treatment of a subject and is intended to be spoken in public. So this appeals to the intellect, to the will, or to the emotions of the audience. Now, let's proceed to the second type of literature, which is poetry. When we say poetry, it is an imaginative awareness of experience being expressed through meaning, sound, and rhythmic language choices as to evoke emotional response. It is being concentrated into imaginative awareness of experience or a specific emotional response through language. It is being arranged for its meaning, sound, and rhythm. So this form of literature uses aesthetic and often rhythmic qualities of a language. It involves sound symbolism, meter, and etc. Under poetry, we have narrative poetry. This form describes important events in life, either real or imaginary. Here we have epic. When we say epic, this is an extended narrative about heroic exploits under supernatural control. So this may deal with heroes and gods. Idealism, courage, beauty, wisdom, endurance, and justice are some characteristics of the hero or heroine on that specific epic. So there are two types or two kinds of epic poetry. So first, we have the popular or ancient epic and the modern epic. Popular or ancient epic are those without definite author, and also in modern epic, it has a definite author. For examples we have Biag Nila Ang and also the Beowulf. Next we have the metric tales. So this is a narrative which is written in verse and can be classified either as a ballad or metrical romance. Examples of this are simple home tales, also love tales or tales of the supernatural, or tales written for a strong moral purpose in verse form. So we have The Lady of Shalott by Lord Alfred Tennyson. For the metrical romance, it has a type of narrative poem that is typically centers about courtship, love, knights, and chivalric deeds. Alright, we have ballad. This is considered as the shortest and simplest of the narrative poems. It has a simple structure that tells a single incident. And also ballads are songs, and this particular types of song tend to be romantic, and also they can portray emotions. Another, we have lyric poetry. Originally, this refers to the kind of poetry meant to be sung, and it is being accompanied by a lyre. But now this applies to any type of poetry that expresses emotions and feelings to the poet. They are usually short, simple, and easy to understand. We have different types of lyric poetry. First, we have the folk songs or awiting bayan. So these are short poems intended to be sung. So the common theme is love, despair, grief, doubt, joy, hope, and sorrow. Another, we have sonnets. This is a lyric of poem that consists 14 lines dealing with an emotion, feeling, or an idea. So there are two types. We have the Italian and the Shakespearean sonnets. Next, we have elegy. This is a lyric poem which expresses feelings or grief and whose theme is death. Another, we have ode, and this is a poem of a noble feeling. It is being expressed with dignity with no definite number of syllables or definite number of lines in a stanza. Another, we have Psalms, and this is a song praising God or the Virgin Mary. It contains a philosophy of life. Next, we have Awit or song. It has 12 syllables and slowly sung to the accompaniment of a guitar or bandurria. Example of this is the Florante at Laura by Francisco Balagtas. Another, we have corridos. Corridos have measures of 8 syllables and is being recited to a martial beat. These songs are often about oppressions, daily life of peasants, and the other socially important information. Example is Ibong Adarna. We also have dramatic poetry. So this is an emotional piece of literature which includes a story which is recited or sung. So dramatic monologue is the main instrument of this form of poetry. Next, we have comedy. Comedy came from the Greek term komos. It means festivity or revelry. So this form usually and is light and written with the purpose of amusing and usually has happy ending. Next, we have melodrama. This is usually seen in musical play with the opera. So today, this is related to tragedy just as the farce to comedy. It arouses the immediate and intense emotion and is usually sad, but there is a happy ending for the principal character. Example is Annabelle. Next, let's proceed to tragedy. This involves the hero struggling mightily against dynamic forces. So it can be the hero meets death or ruin without success and satisfaction obtained by the protagonist. Next, we have farce. This is an exaggerated comedy. So it seeks to arouse the mirth by laughable lines, and situations are too ridiculous to be true. So the characters in here seem to be caricatures and the motives are undignified and absurd. Another, we have social poems. This form is either purely comic or tragic, and it pictures the life of today. It may aim to bring about changes in the social condition.